Welcome, everyone. Ready to dive into the world of new media art?
I am. It's a fascinating field, a lot to unpack.
Absolutely. We'll be exploring its history, the evolution, how technology and art have kind of come together over time.
And how those lines have blurred, really. I mean, even the term new media art is debated. Think about it. Many artists who work with digital tools, the internet, even robotics, don't always use that label.
Right, right. They see themselves as sculptors,
Yeah.
installation artists, or just, well, artists, using the tools of today.
Exactly. It's about the creative process, the ideas, not necessarily fitting into a specific box.
Okay, so less about labels, more about the art itself.
Mhm.
So, where do we even begin with this?
Well, let's go back way back to the early 20th century.
Okay,
Daddyism.
daddyism. Those artistic rebels, right? The ones who embrace the absurd.
Yes, they challenged all those traditional art norms. And honestly, they laid the groundwork for so many ideas we see in new media art today.
Huh. I remember learning about them, but how does that connect to computers and the internet and all that?
It's all about blurring those boundaries between art and everyday life, questioning what art can be. That's a huge part of new media art.
I see, I see.
And one of the key figures in Dadaism was Hannah Hook, German artist.
Okay.
She was a pioneer of photo montage.
Photo montage, like, what is that?
So imagine taking images from magazines, newspapers, cutting them up, creating a collage, a whole new visual language.
Okay.
That's what she did. In her piece, Cut with the Kitchen Knife Data through the last Weimar beer belly cultural epoch in Germany.
Wow, that's quite a title.
Right, very daddyist.
It is, yeah. But what was she trying to say with this style?
She was commenting on the social and political chaos of her time. It was satire,
Mhm.
critiquing gender roles, the politics of the Weimar Republic. It was a tumultuous time.
Yeah.
And those fragmented images, they reflect that fragmented world.
It's kind of like how we consume information today.
Right. Online, those snippets of images and text, it's all very fragmented.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
And speaking of challenging conventions, Marcel Duchamp, another Dada figure,
Oh, yes.
he took this whole idea of everyday objects as art even further.
Okay.
Ready-mades, he called them. And his most famous
I'm,
fountain, it was, well, a urinal.
a urinal.
He signed it, submitted it to an art exhibition.
So he's saying, like, anything can be art if we just look at it that way.
Precisely. It was radical.
Oh, I bet people were not happy.
Oh, it caused an uproar, but it had a profound impact.
Yeah.
It challenged the idea of artistic skill, craftsmanship. It shifted the focus to the concept, to the viewer's interpretation.
And that really resonates with new media art.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Reusing existing technologies, images, it's all connected.
Building on that legacy.
Exactly. And then a few decades later, pop art emerged,
Pop art.
embracing popular culture, mass media, blurring the lines even more between high art and everyday life.
So, like, Andy Warhol.
Yes, Warhol. Think of his Marilyn Monroe prints or the Campbell's soup cans.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So recognizable, those images. What was he doing? Was he celebrating pop culture or was he critiquing it?
That's the brilliance. He kept you guessing. It
Mm.
sparked conversations about consumerism, about celebrity culture, about mass reproduction of images, themes that are still relevant today.
Oh, for sure. Especially with the internet and digital images everywhere. It's like we're living in Warhol's world now.
We are. And then you have artists like Richard Prince taking it a step further.
Oh, yeah, Prince.
He didn't create his own images. He rephotographed Marlboro cigarette ads
And called it art.
and presented them as his art. Controversial, of course.
I bet.
It raised questions about authorship, originality. What even is art?
Yeah.
He made us think about the power of advertising, how images shape us.
It's like he was holding up a mirror,
Yes.
right, to society.
Exactly. And this exploration of image and perception, it takes another turn with artists experimenting with film and photography in the mid 20th century. Hans Richter, for example,
Richard.
he was associated with both Dadaism and Surrealism.
Okay.
He made abstract films like Rhythmus 21.
Abstract films. What did those even look like?
Imagine shapes, lines, patterns moving across the screen rhythmically. He wasn't telling a story in the traditional sense, it was a visual experience.
So kind of like abstract painting, but with movement and light.
Exact.
Did he use any like special techniques for that?
He did animation, stop motion, all sorts of things to create those visuals. And then you have Man Ray around the same time.
Okay. Another was he Dada too?
Yeah, Dada and Surrealism. He pushed the boundaries of photography with his rayographs.
Wait, whoa.
Rayographs.
Mhm.
He'd place objects directly on photographic paper, expose them to light.
Okay.
The results are ethereal, like almost X-ray images of everyday objects.
So playing with light and shadow in a
Mm.
totally different way.
Yes. And all of this, it laid the groundwork for video art.
Video art. So that's where we're headed next.
It's a big leap forward.
We've seen how daddyism and pop art kind of shook things up. And then Richter, Man Ray, they played with light, perception. It's all connected.
It is. And it leads us to a whole new way of making and experiencing art.
I can't wait to see where this goes.
So now we get to video art, a big moment for new media art.
Yeah. A whole new medium,
Moving images, manipulating them, things you just couldn't do before.
like a whole new dimension opens up, right?
Right. And the one name that really stands out, Namjoon Paik,
Fake.
often called the father of video art, Korean American artist.
Okay.
He saw the potential of TV, video, not just to record things, but to make art.
Art that what interacted with you?
Exactly. Art that made you think about technology differently.
So how did he actually use video? Did he make films?
He did experimental films, videotapes, music, performance, found footage, you name it. But he was also known for his installations.
Installations with video.
Yeah. Like using TV sets as sculptures.
Wow.
One of his early pieces, Magnet TV. He put a magnet, a strong one, on a TV.
Okay.
It distorted the image, all these abstract patterns.
Oh, so it's changing the image live.
Yeah. Like a performance almost. The TV became the art.
Huh. Was he making a statement about technology? About how it can be used to manipulate?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
He knew how technology was changing things, and his art explored both the good and the bad, the creative and the manipulative.
Yeah.
Like his piece, Electronic Superhighway.
Electronic superhighway.
Huge installation, all these TV screens, each one showing something different, connected by neon lights, tracing the US map.
I'm trying to picture this. So many screens all connected, kind of like information overload. Is that what he was going for?
In a way, yeah. He was fascinated by how TV connected people, all that information, all those images.
Changing how we see the world.
Right. And Electronic Superhighway, it showed that connection, but also like how fragmented it could be, how overwhelming.
And we should think about the internet, all the information we have
Mhm.
now. It's like he was ahead of his time.
He was. Then, as we move into the late 20th, early 21st century, the internet explodes.
Yeah.
Digital technologies become more accessible. Corey Archangel, for example, he used that,
Okay, Joel? Yeah.
He was playful, but his work makes you think. Use video game aesthetics, glitches, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
His piece, Super Mario Clouds, he hacked a Super Mario Bros. Cartridge so it only showed the scrolling clouds.
So just the clouds, like from the game.
Yeah, it became minimalist art.
Taking something so familiar, making you see it differently.
Exactly. He was all about technology, nostalgia, finding beauty in unexpected places.
And recontextualizing things, right? Like
Yeah.
Duchamp with his ready-mades.
Right. And then you have Electric Boutique,
Electric Boutique, they're rock.
Artist Collective, Aristark Chernishev, and Alexei Shulgin, their piece, Monument to iPhone G International.
Okay, that sounds familiar. The monument, was it based on something?
Yeah, it was a reimagining of a sculpture from the early 20th century, Monument to the Third International by Vladimir Tatlin.
So a very different time period.
Right. But they turned it into a giant iPhone.
Wow. Replacing a symbol of what, utopia with consumerism? That's pretty bold.
It is. What do we idolize now?
Have it-
How much power does technology have over us? It makes you think.
It does. The iPhone, from this cool new thing to almost an obsession.
Exactly. And speaking of the digital realm, we can't forget NFTs.
NFTs, things get really interesting there.
They've shaken up the art world for sure. But what is an NFT? For those who don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those terms everyone throws around, but maybe not everyone gets it.
So imagine you have a digital image, video, song, whatever. An NFT is like a digital certificate.
Okay.
It uses blockchain technology to prove you own it, the original.
So like owning the original Mona Lisa, but it's digital.
Yeah.
And it's all on this blockchain.
Exactly. You can't copy it. It's verifiable.
So it changes everything for digital art. They can sell unique pieces now.
Right. Like Beeple, Mike Winkleman, his piece Every Days, the first 5,000 days.
The one that sold for, was it like $69 million?
Yeah. At Christie's, it was a collage of digital images, one he made every day for over 13 years.
Wow. So it wasn't just the art itself. It was like owning a piece of his journey.
And a piece of digital history. Scarcity, ownership, that's what NFTs are about.
Like owning a piece of the internet itself.
And then you have products like CryptoPunks.
Oh, yeah, the little pixel guys.
From Larva Labs, they used algorithms to make unique characters, limited number of them.
So it's like collecting, what, baseball cards, but digital?
Exactly, a whole new kind of collecting. And now new media art is going beyond the screen.
Becoming more immersive.
Yeah, installations that use all your senses. Hito Steyerl, she's great at that.
Styral.
German artist, filmmaker. Her installations, they explore surveillance, technology, how information flows.
Deep stuff.
Her piece, Factory of the Sun, it's video projections, motion capture, a whole narrative about how technology shapes our lives.
So you're not just watching, you're part of it.
Right. And then you have Rosalie Gania,
Oh,
Gone
cool.
sculptor. She uses AI robotics in her work.
Robots making art?
Well, she uses them. It's like art and artificial life coming together.
Ah.
Her piece, Morphosis, these silicon robots, they interact, they learn.
They learn.
Yeah. But each time they perform, their memories are reset.
So every performance is different.
Exactly. And then there's Roy Nachum.
Okay. What does he do?
He collaborates with Mercer Labs. They use braille, light, sound, interactive elements.
So his work is for everyone.
Yeah.
Sighted, blind, everyone.
Yeah. He wants to make art accessible to everyone.
That's great. And speaking of technology changing art, 3D design and printing.
That's a whole other frontier. We'll get to that next.
So 3D design and printing, we've gone from daddyism to NFTs, and now this. It's like the digital world meeting the physical world.
Yeah. It's a whole new way of sculpting. You're working in virtual space.
Yeah.
All these details, textures, things you couldn't do by hand, and then boom, you print it out. It becomes real.
It's like a digital chisel.
Exactly. Are there artists doing this, you ask?
Yeah, who's pushing the boundaries here?
Well, Ethan Solodukin, for example,
Solodukin.
his Soul Studies series, he uses software to create these sculptures, organic, like bones, shells, coral.
Natural forms.
Yeah. And then he prints them out, 3D printing, and they're so intricate.
So the computer helps him create these shapes, and then the printer makes them real.
Exactly.
So could this make sculpture more accessible?
That's a great point. Not everyone has a studio, materials, all that.
Right.
But with 3D design and printing, anyone can create.
It's amazing, really, when you think about it.
And it opens up collaboration too. Artists can work together no matter where they are. Share designs, print them out anywhere.
It's really changing things.
It is.
I mean, this whole journey through new media art, it's been incredible. From daddyism to NFTs. It's all about this back and forth between technology and art.
Pushing those boundaries, changing how we see things.
Exactly. And it's not over, is it?
Not even close. New technologies are always popping up. Who knows what artists will do next, what kind of art we'll see.
That's the exciting part, right? It's always changing. Makes you wonder what's next for new media art.
It's an open question.
It is. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed our deep dive into this world. It's a fascinating field, always evolving, definitely worth exploring further.